this is your notes for learning how to estimate your decimal operations. So you need to make sure you have the estimating notes right here, and we're going to glue these into our notebooks. So first I'm going to give you two basic steps. The very first step would just simply be to round. Now if you're already at level 3 on this skill, you should already be good at rounding, so that's good. Step 2 is going to be to carry out the operation. That would be adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing. So both of these things we should be able to do by now. It's just putting them together that makes this a little bit more difficult, but I think you guys will be great at it. So a couple rounding reminders over here. If it says to round to the nearest whole number, okay, so say I had 243.68. If it wants the nearest whole number, okay, that means this is the last number I'm going to have, because to have a whole number, I have nothing past the decimal. So I'm going to look at the number past the decimal and see if it's less than 5, I'm going to leave it at this number. If it's greater than 5, I'm going to round up. So because this 6 is greater than 5, I'm going to round it to 244. That would be to the nearest whole number. Say that was 0.38, then I would round down to 243 and leave it. Okay. Another one you might see is to say rounding to the greatest place value. The greatest place value means the first digit on the number. So if I had 628 and it said round to the greatest place value, well, the greatest place value is the biggest number over here. Okay, so I'm going to look to the right of it. Well, is that 2 bigger than 5 or less than 5? It's less than 5, so I'm going to round it down to 600. Say I had 782. The greatest place value would be 7, and that 8 tells us to round up, so we would round up to 800. Okay, so the greatest place value is always that first digit. Okay. Alright, so that's just to help us out get started. The first example says to estimate the sum, and it gives us 2 decimals, and then in parentheses here it tells us we're going to round to the nearest whole number. So remember, our first step is to round. So I want to round both of these. 5.19 to the nearest whole number. Remember over here, whole number, we want this number to be the last digit because it's we have nothing past the decimal. So that 1 there, because it's less than 5, means we're going to leave it at 5. So if we round that to the nearest whole number, it would be 5 plus, same thing over here, we want 1 to be the last digit, so it's either going to be 1 or we're going to round up. So we look at this 8. Well, 8 is greater than 5, so we're going to round up to 2. So now all we have to do is add. 5 plus 2 is 7. Okay, so that just gives us an accurate estimate of this sum without having to work out all of the decimal operation. Okay, next we're going to do a difference, which means subtraction. It says estimate the difference, and it gives us 2 numbers and to round to the greatest place value. So remember, the greatest place value is that first digit in each one. So all you look at, you don't have to look at any of these numbers except for the one exactly to the right of it. Well, the 1 is less than 5, so that means that 200 would be estimated to the greatest place value. Over here, we're going to have 1 is to the right, or 7 is to the right of 1, and 7 is greater than 5, so we're going to round up to 200. Well, that means we have 200 minus 200, which equals 0. I don't know about you, but that one doesn't seem so much as accurate as that one did up here. Alright. Okay. And in fact, while I'm here, I would even suggest trying rounding to a different place value. So let's say, let's round to the nearest whole number. Okay, well that way we would look here, we look to the right. 4 is less than 5, so we would have 214 minus, here we have 3, but it's a 9, so we're going to round it up to 4. We'd have 174. Okay? Now, just like we've been doing, we're going to set this up vertically. and subtract. 4 minus 4 is 0. We gotta borrow. 11 minus 7. Whoops, lost my screen. Okay, 11 minus 7 is 4, and 1 minus 1 is 0. So that gave us a more accurate estimate. So sometimes they will ask you what would be the best way to round, and in this situation I would say the best way is to the nearest whole number. Okay. Now let's move on to a product. So here again it wants us to round to the nearest whole number. So you look at your 8 and to the right. Well, that 4 tells us right next door that we're just going to keep it at 38. So we have 38 times 5.2. Well, that 2 tells me I'm going to keep it at 5. It's not big enough to round me up. So I'm going to write it vertically. 38 times 5. 8 times 5 is 40. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 4 would be 19. 190 would give us a good estimate. Alright, next, last one, we're going to do a quotient. So it says to round to the greatest place value, so I'm looking at that first number in each one, and I'm looking to the right. So 8 is above 5, so that means this is going to round up to 800. Okay? Well, 44, the 4 is less than 5, so it's actually going to round down to 40. So it's saying to do 800 divided by 40. Well, I could either set this up as long division here, okay, and know that 40 goes into 80 2 times, subtracting it 0, bring down the 0, and 40 goes into 0 0 times. Okay, that tells me the answer is 20. Alright, I hope this helps. Just remember the two basic steps is to round and then to do the operation, not vice versa.